What is freaking up? My name is Eve.
My name is Sarah.
And we are Burnt Out Perfectionists.
Heck yes, we are.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
It's currently Friday.
We love to record on a Friday and send out the episode on a Monday.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next week we can record a couple and then it'll be like, we don't know when this is going to be posted.
Oh, yes, because the child will be at camp.
Yes. Which is not like, I said to my mom last night, I was like, it's not that I don't like that she annoys me when we record. It's just like, I feel bad being like, oh, let's go down for like 2 hours and disappear.
Yeah.
While if she wants to like do a craft. Like, first week, didn't feel bad. She was asleep 99% of the time.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Especially beginning of this week. Even yesterday. Starting off with Survive and Thrive when I come upstairs. Sarah's asleep in the corner of the couch. This might sound bad. I said that Charlie looked like a homeless kid trying to find warmth because like she wasn't fully touching you. She was like, you were out, your arms were like above your head holding your face, your knees were bent, you were on the couch. And she just like curls up like in the tiny crevasse.
So she's like, I see a crevice. I'm just gonna back up and cuddle in here.
And they were asleep for like hours.
Oh my God, though. Like, I could barely keep my eyes open yesterday. And then I had that nap and I felt great. But I also felt like, not like when you're too awake and not like you're too tired. I just kind of felt like I was there. Is the best way I can explain it.
It was so funny because then like 2 or 3 hours later, they finally woke up. And like, I'm like, oh, hello there. Good morning. It's now afternoon.
It was like 10:30 when we woke up.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. It was not, Sarah, because I came up the stairs at 10:30.
When did you send my husband the photo of us sleeping to make fun of us?
11:23.
Oh.
So, you slept until our brother got up at 11:20.
Oh, and he was...
You didn't hear the blender.
No.
You were out. Your kid woke up first.
Yeah.
She crawled onto the kitchen table because she was like,
well, not
Auntie.
At the table.
Well, she crawled up to it. Auntie, I need food. Okay. 12. Made her a quesadilla. She's partially eating the quesadilla. What's that? Okay. Sarah walks into the kitchen haphazardly. What's that? It's 1. It's 1 p.m. And I was like, I literally like our mom was reading a book and she was like, I haven't done this in so long, like read a book in a day. And she was reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Yeah.
She wanted to read the new one.
Playbook thing.
Yeah, she really wanted, we found it at the thrift store and she was like, it's only like $5.
She read it in a whole day.
It wasn't that long either. And I looked at her and I was like, because I hadn't been sleeping for the past couple nights, I was like, Mom, I need to go to Jisk. I need new pillows. And she like looked at me, looked at the book and was like, I have 15 pages left. Can I just finish the book? And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, hello.
Hello, I'm here. And now I need food and I have to pee. Yeah. I've been fucking tired. I think I talked about that the last time, but also just like everybody I know that I talk to, I'm like, hi, are you just like ridiculously exhausted right now? They're like, yeah, I am. There has been like the temperature, because it is summertime where we are, has been up and down. But, like, sometimes to some extremes where it's, like, raining all day and then 12 degrees. And then other extremes where it's, like, in 40 degrees outside.
So, for reference, on Wednesday, it was 40 degrees. No, Tuesday. It's 40 degrees. Wednesday, it was 17 degrees.
Yeah, which was great.
Yesterday was, like, gloomy most of the morning, and then it heated up in the afternoon. Wasn't, like, that bad, though. Today's been pretty, like, steady.
Today's been pretty steady. I've stayed awake. My husband predicted that my daughter and I were going to have a nap again. And I don't know if it was just like we willed ourselves not to or if we just had enough sleep. But
which also shout out to your husband. He answered me. I sent him a text message at 11:23 of the picture of them because I was like, this is hilarious. He's going to laugh. 3 hours later, he did answer me. Because he doesn't usually. And I'm like, sir, this was really funny.
I know. He doesn't answer a lot of things that I send him. Or it's like I get all excited and curate this whole entire feed of TikToks for him to watch. And I send them to him and he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, and then he'll turn around and be like, oh my God, watch this. It's so funny. And start playing for me. And I'm like, I know I said that to you. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, did you not see the TikToks I sent you? And he's like, oh no, I don't usually look at my messages. I was like, I curated an amazing feed of things. And then his For You page is like, let me just add them in. And then every single time he's like, have you seen this? I'm like, yes, I sent it to you 2 days ago. I was laughing about it then. Now I'm just annoyed
that he didn't look at it.
Yeah.
And what was your Thrive? Your Survive Retired?
Oh, my Thrive? I don't know. Just having a moment to chill.
Well, I'm so offended that I am not your Thrive. I located the Gilmore Girls blankets.
Oh,
from TJ Maxx.
I'm not away. Okay, so I don't know. You know when there's like, I don't know what side of TikTok you're on, but there's some people who have like, it's like a seasonal blanket obsession every single time. And there was this one that they showed. So they showed a white one and they showed a yellow one. And there were these Gilmore Girls themed blankets. So it's not like they have like Lorelai's and Rory's face on them and stuff, but they have like things like the Luke's Diner cup. They have like all the little kind of like kitschy things that you think of when you think of Gilmore Girls. And I literally looked for these things and I was like, oh, they probably only got them in the States. And then when you state that you want to get one, of course, your feed just shows everybody else finding one or looking for one. So when I came in this morning, Eve was like, I found something. So you can choose to keep it for yourself and or we can go get one for our aunt who also loves Gilmore Girls. And we were just like, oh my goodness. Okay. I'm like, okay. And she pulls it out and I almost died. I was like, what? So it's like the nice, soft, fluffy blanket with like doodle art of the stuff on it. And it's so cute. And I was so excited.
It's very cute. There was a blue one at one time as well.
Yeah. There was like blue, yellow, and white.
Which like fits the theme.
Yeah.
And I like walked in to a Winners and I was like, oh, because I was looking for a new quilt. Because the quilt that I have, the like edges started like heavily fraying. And I was like, oh no.
I gotta find another one.
So I was like, oh, gotta find a new one. And I'm like looking all over and I had found this one that I liked prior and I was like, oh, it's pretty. But I was in Disc, which is around the same place. And I was like, oh, go to the next one. And I walked in and I like looked down the plush blanket aisle and I was like, oh my God, looks, oh. And there's 4. I purchased 2. There was a very passive aggressive lady who was like, oh, she must be a reseller. And I did yell at her that I am not a reseller. I am a passionate Gilmore Girls. And she's like, well, why do you need to? I'm like, it's a family thing.
Oh, $10. She was a reseller.
And now she was like with her daughter and they were like looking at ugly things. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Looking at ugly things.
Like, you know when you go to the plush blanket section and like there's the really pretty ones that like are really aesthetically pleasing. And then there's those ones that you're like, is that cute? Like, would it be cute rung out?
Yeah.
Or it'll be like the one covered in like champagne.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you buying that for your 10-year-old daughter?
Yeah.
Like, it's covered in champagne. Why alcohol? And then she was buying one that had a bunch of cocktail recipes, and I was like, yeah, you fit the bill. Like, leave me and my Gilmore Girls.
I know some people get so pushy about that. What was your Survive and Thrive?
What about sleep? My Survive is I hadn't slept properly in like a week. I don't know what was going on. I just could not. And my Thrive is I got a new quilt. I got a new blanket. And it's real pretty. I realized
Did you get new pillows?
Oh, I also got new pillows. Which is a wonderful time. The amount of selections of pillows. Did anybody else know that pillows are so expensive?
Yeah, that's fucking the prices you were showing me. I was like, cool. So my budget is like Amazon or maybe Walmart.
I did not. So those were like the orthopedic comfort gel ones because those are the ones that Sarah was looking for. So I had those. I usually get them from Costco. And then I wanted like a fluffier pillow. I walked into the section. There's 4 different types of filler. Which I was like, wonderful.
Oh, my favorite are the lavender scented ones. I'm like, I don't choose that.
There's a rose scented ones.
What?
And I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'm gonna pick out a pillow. And I was like, why is there so many options? pillows now are like $30 to $40 each.
Yeah.
Which, like, I understand I could probably look other places. I could have, like, looked at like Winners and stuff like that. But I was like, I at least want to find a pillow that I like. I got 2 of them. They were lovely. They're great. I had a wonderful sleep.
Well, let's look at that wedge thing too, you said.
Oh yeah, Costco has those wedge pillows. So if you've seen them, like, they allow you to not, like, have things fall behind your headboard.
Yeah.
And it's a triangle wedge.
Ben was right. So I thought they only have the queen size ones
Yeah.
at Costco, but I thought you got yourself like a full on wedge.
Oh no, I literally got those. I got the, like, wedge pillow thing. It has a little phone holder too.
Yeah.
It's great because there's the grippies on the bottom. And, like, sometimes if I would sleep, my, like, gel pillow would, like, fall in between my headboard and my mattress. But because it's, like, hard, it would re-expand, and then my mattress would, like, slide down. It was a combo of things. But
that's what happens to me.
Yeah, those are my survive and thrives.
Oh, very, very nice. So, the episode this week is why we fall in love with planners, systems, new routines, all those other fun things, only to ghost them days, weeks, months later. Like when you start and you're like, I have a whole system. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to use Notion. I'm going to reuse my Google Calendar. I'm going to buy this really pretty planner that I think is absolutely amazing because all of the school supplies came out. And this is going to change my life.
My biggest frustration with planners is, and it's to any planner company, why are all the months the same? Why is it always like a beautiful cover and then you open it up and maybe has a couple stickers and then everything else is black and white?
Everything else is like that. Or I don't like the ones that have the time things on them. I don't want like anything written in there that makes it like crazy structured, because what happens if I want to change it, or what happens if I have a couple different things that I need to do in that one span of time and I know each one of those things will take me 10 minutes, but it doesn't fit within your constraints of the tiny, tiny borders.
Also, why do they make the titles of the months so large?
I know they'll take up like 3/4 of the pages, and you're like, cool, so where the fuck am I supposed to put everything else on here?
Like, if I'm trying to find it, I like dated planners, because then I can also keep with, like, what the date is and stuff like that.
I like when they have like the block calendar in the front, but then the rest of the pages where you can plan out your day are just, you can like freewheel on them.
I like a little bit of like it's separated per week.
Oh, okay.
I also don't like daily planners.
I'm
the ones at the times.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could subscribe to the adult version of like the elementary school kid planners that like my kid gets, because they have like little fun facts. They have a reading tracker. They have all these other things, but they have really big spaces because I write really large.
But again, those are all black and white on the inside. Where's the color?
Oh, there's color all over my kids. Like there's color on every single page.
Oh, I just want something that like is just nice.
Yeah.
That I could just like use it for everything. Because I find like you use the planner, you fill it all out, so you do like monthly. And then also I find sometimes I don't know what to write on the pages.
Or there's like this intimidation that what you're about to write or how you're going to write it is just not good enough for that planner page. Like there's that whole like there's the honeymoon phase where you're like, ooh, this is going to change my life. It's going to do all those things. And then you slowly start like trying to integrate it. You're like, oh, like this part doesn't work, but that's okay. I'll just like put this over here. Or, okay, well, I missed this day because I wasn't feeling really well, but don't worry. Like it'll totally work out. And then I'll just do this. Or then you have to like modify what you put in. And then sometimes it's just like, oh, I thought I could do more. And you're not really recognizing like all the stuff that you have done.
I also find that like, hello?
Yeah.
Every planner is very like set up for one person.
Yeah.
I also don't like I like spiral planners, but I don't like it when the spiral is too big.
No, because then it's like fucking useless. But if it's too small, then sometimes you go to turn it and it's like, yeep, right out of it. And then you got to start putting the fucking journal back together.
Also, then constantly, why do they make planners and stuff with see-through pages?
Oh, yeah, I know.
And then they leak through. So then you buy a new pack of pens and you're like, oh, maybe this one will work. And then sometimes you have the paper where if you use a gel pen, it's like, we're not working.
Oh, yes. Or you're sitting there and you're like, okay, perfect. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to fill this all out. And I'm just etching the paper at this point. What the fuck is going on? Or the one where you go to write it in pencil and you go to erase it and the page disappears and or tears.
Ugh.
That's my personal thing. I will literally look. If I can see grain in the paper, I won't buy it because I know that if I erase, it will disappear or rip, and then I'll get pissed and want to pull the whole fucking page out.
I call them Bible pages. You know, if you look at Bible pages, they're like basically transparent
100%.
and you can like sneeze the wrong way.
See, and that's the whole thing is like if you don't find like an actual, like, say, like physical planner, then even I always go down the route of we should make one. And then we start making one and then we don't like it, or we redo it like 4 different times, or we have different ideas about it. And that's the whole thing is like you said, like each thing is like built for that exact person who made it. I feel like a lot of things don't work. They're seen as universal, but they don't work for everybody.
Yeah, but then also like people be like, oh, I really love this planner, or I really love this planner, and like they make custom planners. Yes, they're more expensive. So there's one that was like a teacher that made her own planner and she could build it. But there's like I find that there's 3 categories of planners. There's the corporate with the times.
Oh, so boring.
There's teacher planners with schedules.
Yeah.
There's student planners.
Yeah.
And then there's like a very slim view of other planners.
Yeah, there's nothing for like, I feel like everyday people. Like, unless you still have like that corporate mindset, unless you're in a job, unless you fit into one of those categories, there's nothing that really like works for you.
Well, I also find what's really frustrating is the holiday stuff. So, like, for somebody who works, like, my schedule is Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
I work weekends. I work all over the place.
Yeah.
So when I open up a planner and it makes the weekends gray, I'm like, well, I gotta work anyway.
It makes the weekends gray, or the weekends are like 3 lines and everything else is like 12 lines. And you're like, what?
Or holidays, they just fully cross out. And I'm like,
Some
still
people
gotta
work
work
on holidays. Or because, you know, they want to make their planners universal. Like, we live in Canada and they will show every single holiday for Canada and the United States.
And Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And the UK. It is like sometimes they'll be based off of like how they spell things. So it's like Thanksgiving, Independence Day,
Yeah.
Harvest Day. And I'm like, I can't even write anything on top because it's just listing whatever other country calls this day.
I know. And that's the whole thing is like, I understand like some people want to have that, but you know, like, just give me a spot to write it down. I don't need you to fucking do it for me. Or there's the other option where if it's like not physical or not pre-made, it's like, okay, well, I'll use something that's functional like Asana or Notion or Google Calendar, stuff like that. And it's like, but I want to find out how to utilize it. I want to do this exact thing that I want to do. When you look up the exact thing that you want to do, sometimes there may be a totally different way that you never thought of doing it, but you're so set on finding that one way of doing it in there. And then next thing you know, you're like 5 to 6 hours deep in YouTube tutorials and you're picking out pens even though you're doing a digital calendar. Like, it just loops back around.
It's also like, I find with like digital planning, there's always like, at least with the physical planner, you buy the planner, you get the planner.
Yeah.
You don't have to play this game of subscriptions.
Oh, I am so fucking done with subscriptions.
I would love, I want to sit down and like build a really good Notion one day. Like with Google Calendar. Love it. It is our home light.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll invest in like a skylight or something like that. But like
a sky view, I want one so bad.
It is so great. I put everything on that calendar. It has caused so many less arguments.
Yeah.
But I can't change the background color of the widget. I would just want it to be pretty color.
Yeah.
I'm also quite limited on what color I can change people's names.
Yeah.
I would like to change people's colors.
Also, I'm not gonna lie. So, like, obviously, our family calendar is like super overwhelming for someone like our brother, and he has his own calendar. But I can't so what I generally will do is I'll create like a Google event and I'll put like, say like, my daughter's going to camp and I'll have it in there. And then I have to create that exact same thing again and put it under the category of his instead of just being able to tag like multiple calendars with that one event for people to see.
I thought you could do that on the
Nope.
desktop.
I was like, you can't, because I tried and then it just defaults to the last one that you pressed.
Oh, and it said like those are paid. And then things like Asana or Trello and those types of ones. Monday.
Yeah.
You think they're going to be great. And then it's like, you can't do this.
Oh, yeah. And it'll be something like so simple and trivial. And you'll be like, how come you can't do that? How come I can't do this? Or, oh, don't worry, you can do this, but now you have to pay us $200 a year to be able to do that one thing. It's like, I just want to do the one thing. I like everything else. I just want to do the one thing. And I feel like there's always these like catches. And then you're trying to find like a workaround. And again, when you go to find those workarounds, you're spending all that extra time trying to find a workaround to not have to pay a ridiculous amount of money for something when you're just trying to stay like get your shit together.
Well, you also just want to see if you'll actually like it. Because like $200 a year is like $15 a month ish.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, great. I just want to figure out if I'm actually going to use this or not.
Yeah, like I'm gonna figure out that is it gonna lose its like shininess after like I feel like an average for me is like 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then it'll be like if I have 3 minor inconveniences within the span of 3 days, I'm like nope, and then I forget it exists.
I also find like a lot of them, if the like shininess goes off, it depends on your feed too.
Yeah,
because my feed right now is traveler journals.
Oh, my feed right now is teachers redoing their classrooms because the states goes back into session in August.
Oh.
And it's like how to mattify, like when they laminate letters.
Yeah.
And they're like spray it with matte gloss. Well, it's not gloss, but like matte clear top coat spray. And that way kids can see it from all angles. I'm like, that's the smartest thing ever. It's so many things underneath are like, I'm not a teacher, but when I was a kid, I remember when the teacher tried to make me read the poster and I couldn't read it because I was in that one section of the classroom at 11:52 p.m. when the sun was shining through on it. And I'm like, right? I'm like, oh, that's such a great idea. Like, I never thought of that. And I'm like watching these things. Am I a teacher? No, not at all.
Do you just design a classroom?
No. But do I want to? Yes. No, I do.
And like, I feel like there's such a big market for like planners of like for people that are not teachers.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? Is like which is so funny because there was always like totes and everything being made for the everyday person and for business people. Mm-hmm. And then there was like teacher totes came out and it finally has like a place to put all the things. And now everybody else is catching on and then making totes with all of the things in them for everybody. And I'm like, okay, cool, but like there's still no universal way of everybody hitting it. Because I don't know. I go through phases where I want everything structured and I feel like that's when I'm the most competent. And then there's other times where I don't want anything because I just want to be like free to do whatever. And then I either do a million things or I do absolute nothing.
Like with your routines?
Yeah, with like routines in general. Like when you're looking at like a planner house with a routine or like a digital calendar, but like there's sometimes where I will just like, I need it or I'm like, oh, I don't need it. And then I'll be sitting there one day and I'll be like, fuck, I think I need to come up with like a solid routine because Jesus. And then it's the same cycle as the planner where I'm like, does this work? Did I plan too much? Am I exhausted? Am I expecting too much of myself? I do all the things and I'm like a couple minor inconveniences or I run out of something like, say I want to make protein coffee or something every morning and then I run out of protein and I can't go to the store to get it right away, then I forget that it exists. And then I just start defaulting to other things.
I find with like routines, it depends on like if the items you have to do are codependent.
Yeah.
Like if you have to have people like if I was to make a routine for our businesses, I can't make a physical one because you need access to it.
Yeah.
So it's like I could, in theory, like make a planner and like keep it down here and you could come down and look at it. But it's like then if she like asked me a question, I have to like go look at the planner.
And that's the whole thing too, is like, it's, you want to stick to your routine, but then you also want to like listen to your body, because let's be honest, sometimes your like brain is like busy and like wanting to do all the things, and you're so excited and you're so productive that day, and say you banged out 2 days worth of other things, and other days like you just want to sleep in to like fucking, well, for me, sleeping in, it's like usually like 8:30 on a weekday, on a weekend, because if I sleep in, it's not really safe for my job. But like, say you ended up staying up a bit later, or like Eve will work like 6 days in a freaking row and be absolutely exhausted. So we know, like, okay, let's not do anything the first day she has off. And then you come upstairs at 11:30. Well, if we had some form of like ridiculously structured schedule, you wouldn't have gotten the sleep that you needed, and we would have been behind by half a day.
But also, like, those types of things, like, I would have prepared the night before and gone to bed earlier.
I know, but I mean, like, being able to, like, not just prepare and accommodate, but also just, like, you don't know when you're going to have a good night's sleep. You don't know when you're going to get sick. And then you have all those things and all those systems in place, and then something like that happens. And sometimes I feel like it's, like, super hard to, like adapt. So it's just better to have, I don't know, nothing, or sometimes, like, a to-do list.
I like a routine in the sense that, like, then I feel like if it's for like business stuff, I like to have some sort of routine, because if I'm like, "Oh, well, I have to post a blog, or I have to write a blog, I have to do this. This one's my week. This is my week." If I don't have a routine of doing it, then then like the past couple weeks I was like, oh god damn it.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is I'm like, okay, I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, so let's plan this stuff out for Burnt Out Perfectionist. Okay, let's plan this stuff out for, after I get that figured out, perfect. I'll plan this stuff out for Overwhelmed. These are all the things that I want to do. Okay, perfect. Then I'll plan this stuff out for my life. Okay, for like me personally, just me, Sarah, the singular person. And then it's like, okay, but these are all the other things that I want to accommodate with like my family, because like my kid's off. I want to obviously like accommodate like the stuff I need to do with our brother, and like things with him, and like figuring that stuff out. And then I squish it all together and I'm like, oh, wow, I accommodated for me being 4 people instead of me being 1.
I also feel like if maybe making a planner where it was like 2 planners in one, and there was like your personal life and like your work life.
I 100% think that's like a good idea, because having that like split version, because there's nothing weirder and more confusing than like when you're sitting there. And I even felt, I know a lot of people who have been in like the corporate job position like me. Like, some people are like, oh, just like block it out in your calendar and then keep it on your phone, and you'll block it out, but you don't want like other people to like know your business, but you also need to like know why you blocked out, say, that time. You know it's a doctor's appointment, but then you need to remember to like, say, go to a blood test or whatever. You're going to a blood test, and you have to remember not to eat, not to do all these other things. But you don't really want to list all that stuff on the one. So I think like a dual calendar, or even just like remembering that you are also a singular person, no matter like if you're part of a family, and you're part of a job, which is like a group of people, like being able to accommodate that. Because it's like, even I think of our households as like almost like one in a way, or 2 households that like speak to each other at all times. So if
We're essentially neighbors.
yeah, so if I go to make a doctor's appointment, I need everybody to know that I have a doctor's appointment, and not just because I'm like, oh my god, everybody look at me, I have a motherfucking doctor's appointment. Like, at the beginning of this week, I got a freckle mac and a full check over, and I was almost afraid to write that it was the skin cancer clinic that I went to, because they scan you for that. I do not have skin cancer, but I am pale as fuck, and I have a ton of freckles and moles and stuff all over me. And I was like, oh, I'll be like proactive, and you wait for that freaking referral. I think the referral took like a year and a half or more, and they called me, and I went, and they call you like in September to tell you that your appointment's in July. And then they, thank God, follow up. Like, think of those automated processes. And then it was like, okay, well, my kid doesn't have camp. My mom hears this. Okay, well, I'll make sure that I do it earlier in the morning, because that way, like, our brother has a tendency to sleep in. And okay, so we'll have this. Okay, but then I got to make sure I pack snacks for my kid and make sure that there's stuff. And then there's this. And then like, my husband's like, do I have to take you to this appointment? I'm like, no, my mom and our kids are like, okay, well, like, are you sure? Because I'll be totally fine to take you. I'm like, dude, I don't have anything. I'm just making sure that I'm doing my due diligence. But you have to make sure that, like, everybody knows the things.
I think that's also because, like, you work here.
Yeah.
So, like, it'd be like booking time off and, like, your personal time is in one.
Yeah.
So it's like if your husband goes away, you stay here, which then triggers that we have to go grocery shopping and meal planning.
Yeah.
And take all the dairy out of our meals. Or make it modified.
Or you can, like, stick the cheese on or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, do we have this? Do we have this? Okay, they're coming. Okay, well, I gotta clean the room. I gotta do this. Okay, then she's probably gonna sleep in my bed. So I'm gonna have to do this. And then I'm gonna have to wake up earlier. So it's like a domino effect.
Yeah. That's the best word to call it.
It's never like, but that's because our households are so intertwined. Like, we have two businesses together. We have our households together. Like, the times where you guys are not, like, if you guys go to go visit your friends or something,
Yeah.
and it's not on the calendar, I'm like, oh, they're here. I'm just like, it's not on the calendar. Because we're like, oh, well, we'll just, like, know where they are all the time. And, like, I add stuff in. Sometimes I put it on the wrong calendar.
Oh, I've done that, where you end up putting it on, like, the personal one that you sign into instead of, again, like, that indicator. Like, it's not like you walk through the Google Calendar invite and it's like, oh, by the way, don't forget to, like, it's not like an email where it's like you have to add somebody in the two. And there's all these selections now and they changed it and you gotta, like, scan through. Sometimes you're just going so fast. One time my husband's like, I literally have no idea what you're talking about. Saw anything. I put it on our brother's calendar and I was wondering why he was talking about it so much. Because it was on his. And his can only be seen by some of us if we have it turned on.
I don't have it turned on. I'm like, well, I also was the one who made, like, your family calendar and my calendar.
Yeah.
And, like, the big family calendar and then your specific family calendar.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes I accidentally hit it on and I'm like, oh.
Oh, and then the Alexa show that my husband got that he, I think, thought would be more like a sky view. And it's like he wanted to get something that was multifunctional. I think it's just mainly used to, like, broadcast podcasts and have, like, random YouTube videos on while he's doing his work. But he's like, oh, yeah, the calendar totally syncs on it on the Alexa. And I was like, oh, perfect. It totally syncs with, like, the Google one. And he's like, yeah, okay, perfect. Well, I had to sign in with mine. So it shows all the things. And then whatever I have toggled on my phone is what shows on the Alexa.
Oh.
And it's like, it's messy. And it's not like you can pull up. It doesn't look the same. Like, you would think that you would pull up the calendar and say it's in, like, on the screen. It's on landscape view. You pull it up and you can, like, see the things and click on the individual days. It doesn't. It will list every motherfucking thing. You know how it'll say it twice? It'll say, like, Eve's at work, and then on his it'll say Eve's at work, and then it'll list everything off. It'll kind of go, like, back and forth, like when we have, like, duplicate things, because we have, like, the multiple individual calendars. He'll be like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and it will list every single thing that is listed for that day, but, like, in the most, like, inaccurate order, and it'll sound so weird because there'll be, like, duplicates because we duplicate things for him. And yeah, it's just, it doesn't work that well. My friend has a Skyview calendar, and it sounds like, and I always say this stuff now with, like, hesitation, it sounds like exactly what I want, where it has the calendar where you can add things, you can meal plan, you can do chore charts for, like, individual people. It's, like, easily accessible for kids. Like, you can do that. You can add stuff via your phone. You can have grocery lists. Like, you can have all these things. But also, I'm just like, but is it the perfect solution, or does it just look like it? And then you get it and you're like, wow, I spent a lot of money and it doesn't do all the things that I want.
And it's to limit, like, confusion on both sides. The skylight I feel like I've seen is great. But, like, I've recently, we're gonna do it today, is we're gonna try, like, freezer meals for my household and, like, cutting everything up, separating everything, and then we just have to, like, take it out of the freezer.
Yeah.
And one, why is every single freezer meal for postpartum? I'm not postpartum. I just am lazy.
No, my question is, why is every single freezer meal contain ground meat of any variety?
Oh, most of the ones that I have, chicken breast.
Okay, so all the ones that I end up finding are like it's ground meat. I mean, I'm not dissing ground meat, and I understand because it is like affordable, but also like there's so many times where I'm like, fuck, like if I pull out another thing that is just vegetables and ground meat, and we're putting it on top of pasta and or rice, like my husband is gonna be bored, and then he's gonna be like, I don't want to eat that today, and then that meal will sit there forever in the Arctic tundra of the deep freeze.
But it's always like you have to scroll through 55 pages.
Yeah, like you end up doing your research and then you make your list. And you know what happens to me every single time I try to do meal planning and I try to base it off a flyer or base it off a list, the ingredient isn't there. Or if I don't do it based on like flyer sales, the ingredient is like so much fucking more. Like flank steak used to be an affordable thing. You could buy it. You could get like a huge wad of it and it would be like $15 for like enough, or you could make enough meals for a family of 6, like 2 to 3 times. And you would marinate the meat and then you could have like the sandwiches or whatever. And then you could cut up the rest of it and put it in the freezer so you could take it out later with different marinades or whatever. And then also one day I was like, oh, I want one so bad. Sometimes you just like crave things from like your childhood or whatever that your parents used to make. And you knew that it was an affordable thing. And then you go to get it and you're like, son of a fucking bitch. If I want to do this tiny little tray of it is like $15. And I can't do all those things. And then it's almost like a fail. It's a fail on the economy. It's not a fail on you, but like, you know what I mean? And then you're like, okay, well, I'll just try to figure out a different way to do this. And then I'm like, I'm lost. I'm floating in space.
But like, I went through so many websites. I put all the ingredients down. I was like, this would be great.
How many Lifetime stories did you have to read about the fucking people before you got to the actual recipes?
We've been married for 15 years and we've never been able to have the child. And now this is our first child. I am so happy for you.
Yeah.
But I swear to every living God, if I have to read one more, there's no jump to recipe. And then you finally get to the bottom of it and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get the recipes. No, then it's like you have to click on each individual recipe.
Instead of just having like a booklet or whatever, or you got to sign up for their newsletter. Did you know that they have it's some regulation in the States where they have to have jump to recipe on American websites so that way people can go past it? It was like put into legislation.
But it doesn't go to the recipe.
No,
it goes to the link to then click on to then go to the other page that then goes to the recipe, which you still need to hear about great grandma's Betty's sweet homemade casserole. And then you scroll all the way down and then you finally get it. And then you find out that it has, yeah.
That's
or go to it. I'm like,
it'll be like non-dairy or vegan or whatever, and then I'll get to it and I'll find out that 1 or 2 of the other ingredients that are in it I'm super fucking allergic to and I can't have it. I wish there was a way. Hi, Pinterest, if you're listening, we're a huge fan of you. If I can be like meal planning and then I could literally write in an allergy, like a whole profile of all the stuff, so that way I was never served stuff that I couldn't eat.
It is such a pain. And then people are like, oh, use ChatGPT. Okay, so I tried last night. Terrible.
Oh, no. So, like, I find that only works okay if you're, like, really lost on what you want to eat. And, oh, pardon me. If you're really lost on what you want to eat, and you've got a bunch of random things in your fridge or freezer, and you just can't, like, think of how to put the things together. So my friend has used it before where she's, like, punched it all in, and it's done that, and, like, it's helped a lot, but I know other people who've tried to make the recipes and like the recipe measurements are like so fucking off. It's not even funny, or it just tastes fucking weird, or it just makes something completely fucking different than what's described.
Well, I typed it in because I was like, I need low iron, autism friendly, like meals. It was like banana oat muffins as a snack. I asked for dinner meals, and you're providing me with snacks.
I love it.
And then it was like,
I want to do dinner meal planning. Here's some great breakfast options. Son of a motherfucking bitch. Were you listening to me?
And then it's like, would you like a printable PDF? Wonderful. You have reached your max level of credits.
Oh no, my personal favorite is when it does it. And then it's like, here you go. And I'm like, but this isn't a PDF. It's like, oh, so what you need to do now is you need to take this and copy and paste it and put it into a Word document. I'm like, okay, but if you hit the copy button and put it in, it just fucking formats it all weird. But if you actually physically drag the mouse and copy paste it, it'll format it a bit better. But you still have to fix half of it. Like the subtitles, for some weird reason, are 3 times smaller than like the rest of the words. And you're going through, and I understand it's supposed to be doing all the other stuff, but you're like, okay, I'll just format it and then I'll read through it. And then you read through it and you're like, I would never eat that. Or it does something so fucking basic. Like I asked it to make me a meal plan and I said like the things like, this is like, I have a child. My child is this. This is what she doesn't like. I have a husband. This is what he doesn't like. And it literally was like, you should have Taco Tuesday. You should have spaghetti on Wednesdays. You should have this. And I'm like, cool. So I was looking for other ideas because that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Or you come up with different meal planning ideas. And I tried to be like summer. So it would give me like maybe like more like barbecue options. Be like, it's fucking 40 to 45 degrees in the full heat of the summer here. I would like options that would be good. And it's like, make this salad. I'm like, no, Martha, I don't want another motherfucking salad. Like, is there another option? Is there like a fun way to dress something else up? And it's like, have you thought of putting peppers in your spaghetti sauce? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Okay. I'm actually quite good at cooking. And then it gives me like some Gordon Ramsay recipe. And I'm like, I am not Winnie Wellington. But again, after you're done like doing all these things that people say are easy, like using AI tools or looking on Pinterest, you're typing all this shit in, you're reading all this stuff, sometimes to find out that you can't do it, or it's not accessible, or it would be a bajillion dollars when you go to do it in your province or state or wherever you are. And then you turn around and you're like, oh, it's now 3:00 and I gotta go home. I didn't eat this entire day, and then you're exhausted. And you just sit there and guess what? You still don't know what you're gonna have for dinner tonight.
My other thing is that like there is no planners for podcasts.
Oh no, there's no planners for podcasts, but man, they love to make these like social content calendars. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it'll be like, now you want to do this. Now you want to repurpose this. Now you want to go ahead with this. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like, I want to find a way to split this up over the week and how to find like here's stats that I downloaded and I put them in. You have to put them individually because I feel like if you give it more than one thing, it's like I can't figure out what's going on right now, or it starts talking and you're like, I just fucking gave you that yesterday. I gave it fucking the same document 5 times because it kept asking through 4 or 5 different ways for the same thing. And I was like, it's literally right here. I've given it to you. Oh, I see that here. And then it does the whole thing. And I'm like, nope, that is 1,000% incorrect. Well, that was a giant fucking waste of my time. Like, I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. And then I'm like, this is what I do now. I would like to find a more efficient way to do it later. And that son of a motherfucking bitch just wrote up the same shit again. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just like putting it together and organizing the way I did it. And I'm like, that is correct. That is my current schedule. Is there more way? And I'm like, so are you stating that I'm more efficient? That I'm fully efficient and that I shouldn't find a different way to do this? And it's like, well, here's some other suggestions. I'm like, Fitch, we've been having this conversation for like 10 fucking minutes. And I'm like, how is this supposed to be useful? Sometimes I just write something looks the fuck at me and I'm like, I don't feel like you're fucking listening to me at all. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry you don't feel like I'm listening to me. Here's a great schedule. I'm like, yeah, it's my fucking schedule that I already do.
My favorite thing is I feel like you have to, like, with routines and with planning, you have to take a step back and go based off of, like, what your priorities are.
And what your level of motivation is for that day.
What has, like, specific days that you have to do it.
Yeah.
So blog Wednesday, post Monday.
Yeah.
How long those tasks take, because this lady popped up on my feed and I feel like she's in a mood. She's like, how long did this actually take? Boop. And it'll be like, clean out your freezer. You've been regretting to do it for like forever. And they're like, it took me 30 minutes because I couldn't find the right bins. But like, that's different. Yeah. I feel like if you wrote down like, what is the average amount of time that it takes to edit a podcast?
It depends on the length of the podcast.
I just mean like average, I'd say 2 hours.
Sure. Sometimes it's faster.
Yeah, but like 2 hours. Say it's 2 hours to block out your to edit the podcast. How long does it take to make a podcast outline?
I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes per episode.
I'm gonna write this out long. We're doing long.
I love how you're writing it down. We literally have a digital copy of what we're saying right now.
Yeah, but you know me. I like to write things.
Okay. You like Eve's just making an excuse to break out for new stationery.
My house new. This is not in.
I'm at the pens.
Oh, I use these. What color would you like? Do you feel like purple matches your vibe?
Yep, sure. Okay, with purple.
So this is a live planning session.
Yeah.
If we do
2 hours on average,
I'm doing
on a high maximum for editing a podcast.
Edit. We're gonna do 2 hours average.
Yeah.
If it takes less, great. If it doesn't, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Outline.
It's like 10 to 15 minutes per episode. Also depends on like if I'm like, oh my god, that would make a fantastic episode outline, and then I like write out all the stuff and then get it organized, and then put the stuff in, like.
And then to record, it takes,
I don't know, 2 hours
to record an episode.
Well, it's like an
hour and a half.
It's like an hour and a half, but then sometimes there's like setup and all that other stuff. I was thinking, when the computer decides to update and it fucks up all your settings.
Screw you, Apple.
Screw you, but I love you all at the same
time.
Oh,
it's such a pain in my ass. Okay. So on average, this is also just somebody who's like, I want to start a podcast. How long does it take to start a podcast?
There you go. We're talking about planners with hate.
So
here's us trying to figure out a routine.
So on average, we spend 3 hours and 40 minutes on the podcast.
Oh, no.
From episode start to publish. I'm not talking about the other stuff. I'm not talking about the social media.
You're not talking about the YouTube video? You're not talking about the other
I'm
stuff?
talking solely about how long recording to post it takes. 3 hours and 40 minutes. Social media. Media. How long does it take you to write a blog?
Oh, to write a blog?
Yeah.
So what I usually do is I end up like thinking of different ideas and then expanding on one of those ideas. And sometimes I have to go like searching in the TikTok feed.
So on average, how long does it take you?
I don't know, an hour and a half.
An hour and a half?
And sometimes I'll do more than one in that time. And sometimes I'll do just like planning out what I want to do. Or I'll be like, wow, that last one I did, or the last like couple I've done haven't really hit. So let's look at the stats. And then I'm looking at all the stats of things.
I need to look at the analytics because I haven't for a while. How long does it take to do the YouTube video?
Okay, to physically make the YouTube video, I have to make the thumbnail, which means I generally have to scroll through thousands of pictures of Eve and I to find one that I think makes sense.
Okay.
And then like I sit and try to like calibrate it so that way it stands out, but it's balanced. I want to say even just to make the thumbnail alone can take like 30 to 45 minutes.
I was waiting for you to say 3 hours.
But sometimes I do that at the same time as when I'm editing.
I know, I'm just breaking it up for fun. Okay, so then the actual video.
I have a template for like the rest of it. So the rest of the video, you drop it in. That maybe takes like 5-7 minutes because you got to drop the audio in. And then I drop the new thumbnail in. But then the processing time for it to export out from iMovie is anywhere from, if like the 30-minute episode took 15 minutes, but the hour and a half episode can take 45 minutes to an hour to export out.
I'm just going to do an hour. Round it out to me. Okay. So then, socials.
Okay, well, if all the fucking social networks could get together and just have everything in the same size so I don't have to resize it, I'm like, thank God for the resize tool from Canva, but also the resize tool just like adjusts the space and then you have to fix the entire fucking image most of the time.
It's a pain. I'd say an hour.
Or more sometimes.
An hour and a half.
Yeah. Because then you got to do the descriptions and the hashtags. But then you have to remember the minimum and maximums that are allowed for those. And then sometimes I repurpose things. Say if we have like a bunch of like pictures or ideas or whatever, then you're like making a video or you're doing whatever, because we don't actually like physically record us doing the podcast. I think that's it's something else too that I'm trying to think of, like faceless content, which I can then post. Which I haven't posted anything on TikTok in a while because I was sick as fuck and I had like no voice.
I always forget. Sometimes it logs me out on TikTok and I don't remember. If I open it, I'm like, oh.
I literally just use the Burnt Out Perfectionist one as like my main feed. Just so like we're always like current. Because I don't really care. And I was getting so many shitty things on my old one. So I was like, fuck this. I'm going to stay.
Oh, like shitty FYPs.
Yeah.
I was like, were people mean to you on your TikTok?
Oh, I don't care. I just laugh half the time because I'm like, wow, you're such a loser for writing that down. You had nothing else better to do with your fucking day.
Oh, I usually go, your spelling is so poor.
Oh, my favorite is when someone's like, oh my God, this is so cringe. One time I wrote, oh my God, Stacey, I didn't know cringe was still in. Like, that was so fetch.
I love when people are like, they get the mean comments and then they go in the profile and they're like, yeah, Susan, it's you.
Yeah.
So on average, it takes 8 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Total a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or 7 days. Sometimes we're good and we record 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Not in the past couple weeks, just because.
Like, well, that's not even just good. It's just like sicknesses. Like you had a cold and then allergies and then Bitty, Jared and motivation and all those things.
Mine was allergies and quite literally the worst period of my entire life. But that's usually what I do, is I break it down of like how long does it actually take.
Yeah.
Because then like,
and that's the whole thing, is like there's like different ways to make systems. So like for some weird reason, for the longest time, it was always like, I'm gonna make a system that is gonna last me the rest of my life. And then I did that. The last time I did that, I woke up the next day and I was laid off from my job. And I was like, oh my God, my entire system, every single thing that I planned out is like falling apart. Oh my God. Oh my God. But it's also like, you can make a plan for right now. Like you can make mini plans that may eventually lead to like a forever routine that could work for you. But like not everything needs to be like set in stone, absolutely perfect. Needs to be on the cleanest piece of paper, needs to be typed to print it out. You could just like wing it with something that's like new and kind of rigid, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, just take out the shit that you don't like.
I just do mind maps and then come back to them when I need them.
Oh, I do those all the time. My husband's like, I haven't seen one of those since like elementary school, and I was like, I just remember it. Like one day he goes, you're really quiet. And I was like, and he's like, are you mad? I'm like, no, I'm just thinking about everything. And he goes, what? And then I'm like, 1 sec. And he had like the 11 by 17 pieces of paper. And I started out in the middle and I was like, me. And then I went through all the things and just kept adding things on. And we watched them like hour-long show or like a movie or something. And then I went, okay, here's mine. And I handed it over and he goes, oh my God. He's like, so when did these individual things happen? I'm like, all at once. And he's like, what? I'm like, every single one of those things is happening all at once right now. And he goes, oh, I'm like, what are you thinking about? And he wrote out like 5 things.
Dinner.
And he was just like, this. And he wrote things down. I'm like, oh, weird. I didn't even think that you thought about that. Like, that's one thing. Like, not that I was like, you never do that. I didn't think about that. I'm like, oh, weird. That's on your radar. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, like, what do you think about those things? They say it's like, oh, I'm like worried about our kid or whatever. And I'm like, well, like, what are you worried about? Like, is it like school? Is it like this? And he goes, no, I'm just like worried about her to make sure I can like support her. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like throwing those like lines off with mid things like from school. You got to make sure you do school, make sure you do the reading, make sure you sign up for the sports things, and then make sure if she needs help with the sports things. Oh yeah, and then don't forget about the pads, because the pads all have to be the right size, but you don't want them to be too big. And he goes, oh yeah, my brain's not doing that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where did you just go? Oh wait,
my parents always been like that, so I don't know what it's like for it to be quiet.
No, I don't know either. That's what I'm trying to say, is like when I read everything out, it's just like, oh yeah, whatever. And I'm like, well, that's like the way everybody thinks. They think about all this stuff. And he goes, no. And then I'll look at him and be like, are there a million things going through your brain right now? And he's like, well, not really. And then he lists it out. And it's always just like, so are those the titles or just the whole subject?
He's probably thinking about them more deeply. He just says in the categories because it's his bent.
Yeah, because that's what he does.
He wouldn't be like, oh, well, this is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things. Again, we can come up with things. I chronically try to be like more flexible. I try to move myself out of the way of being like very specific about like what I was doing, because then I would end up turning around and like shitting on myself when it came to like routines or calendars or whatever. And then I like moved myself into the way of, it's okay, you can just keep doing whatever, like Freebird. And now I'm like, I feel like I need to have a foot on both sides of those ideas.
That's usually where I'm like, I'll sit down and be like, oh, well, I want to do more with this. I want to do more with this. This is what I want to do. This is what I need to plan to do in the next like few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes me feel better. But I just find like it's so unpredictable with things. And sometimes I'm like, oh, like when I write stuff out, there's not enough. And then I'm like, well, do I want it to be more? And I'm like, no.
Or the day that you're writing it and figuring the stuff out, you're like getting to the end. Like you're getting to like the putt exhaust of it. And you're like, no, like I don't need to write anymore. Like it'll be fine. And then other days you're like, I can't believe I only wrote 6 things. I can think of all these other things that I want to do. And you have to figure out how to have one foot in either side, but then also figure out at that exact moment on that day how you actually feel. And are you tired, or do you just need to be more motivated and have a solid routine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a routines just sometimes.
Yeah. I know. It's just like chronically figuring that out. Hey, if you have a fun system and you would like to share it below on any of our socials, on the comments of a YouTube video, anything like that, anything that has helped you, if you are spicy or non-spicy like us, and we would love to hear it. We will chronically be looking at a new way and maybe come out with our own versions of planners, notebooks, memo pads, all the other stuff for our brains, and see if they fit with anybody else's brains. But as you know, the time has come to an end for today's episode. So stay as forked and twisted as ever.
Peace.
No filter, just the truth. Navigating life from the old to the youth. Laughter, wisdom, and a little fun. We've got something